areas that can hinder you and is making you poor. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So lovely to have you here. My name is Carina, darling. I work with professionals across different capital cities in the world who have side hustles. I help them navigate life stress-free. Today I'm gonna go straight to the topic. It's one that I am very fond of. I really want to share this with you. It's basically the decisions that are making you poor. In the last 7 to 8 years, I have really looked at my personal life and checked the areas that I feel that I am slacking in, and I have learned so much in personal finance. I have grown as a person also in terms of my money and finances, and I'm here to really share 7 areas that can hinder you and is making you poor. It can be leakages, the areas that are preventing you from amassing wealth and actually growing your wealth long term. The first area I'm going to touch on today is paying yourself last or not paying yourself first. Why is that? Because a lot of times we have bills and we have obligations, and it's very natural to go and pay all the other people that you owe, the bank, the insurance companies, your utility bills, and then whatever is left at the end of the month, you take that for yourself. And most times, let's be very honest, there's not much left at the end of the month. So the book that really helped me to see this is Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it's by Robert Kiyosaki, and he really goes into detail about why it's so important to pay yourself first. I started practicing this. Once my paycheck comes in, I put a certain amount. If it's 5%, if it's 10%, I put that away for myself, and then I pay every other person or companies that I need to pay. And what that means is I feel this sense of justification because I have worked hard for the money, so it makes me feel good knowing that I have paid myself, and then I can pay every other person. And if I'm not able to meet those obligations, then I will think of other ways that I can grow and make money. And that made me start to even think of creating other revenue streams, areas to grow money that would help me to enhance the amount that I'm paying myself first. So that's one area that I want to point out to you today. In that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki goes further to talk about the differences between the rich dad and the poor dad. The poor dad usually will pay all his bills first and then perhaps keep some money for himself, and most times he doesn't have enough money to keep for himself. Whereas the rich dad pays himself first, and once he's paid himself, he's satisfied, and then he has the energy and strength to go and make more money. So it's a different way of thinking, and when I started applying this in my life, I saw a lot of things change. The second area that really holds us back and stops us from actually being rich or having money is bad debt. So basically, debt is anything in terms of credit cards, loans that you have. Mortgages are all debts. Interest rates have increased in the last couple of months, and so that means that if you have credit cards, you'll probably be paying a lot more than you were paying before, and that is something that I'm working on. So I am doing a debt series, which is basically talking through how I'm going to be reducing my credit card debt this year, and so I welcome you to join me on that series when I start it. It will be exciting. So for those of you who have credit card debts, loans that you want to pay off, we will drastically do that this year and try and reduce that, because debt is one area that we remain poor. Budgeting tools is the third point I want to share with you today. If you don't know how much goes out of your money every month, then it will be very hard for you to manage your finances. So I would suggest today that you look at your expenses and expenditure and have a budgeting tool and calculate how much is coming in each month, how much is going out each month, and look at areas where you can perhaps streamline your budget. By budgeting, you would actually be able to focus on the costs that are essential, and then the ones that are not essential you then cut back on. The fourth point I want to share with you today is expensive hobbies. Look at things that you can do without having to incur too much expense. Rather than having expensive hobbies, what I like to do is to look at ways that I can get things for cheap. If I am someone who likes to read, so I go to the library, I rent books, I have books online, I use Audible. I don't like to spend money on things that I do not think would yield me much in the future. Experiences are things that I spend money on. So for example, travel, which is going to teach me something, and also learning skills, because I'm gaining knowledge which would obviously upscale me, and then I can achieve a better result or perhaps earn much better money in the future. The fifth point today I want to share with you is paying too much tax. I know a lot of people are employees, and so you don't have any control over your tax in that situation. But there are also people who have structured their business in a way that it helps them to actually be able to manage their finances and reduce the tax liability. Wherever possible, ensure that you're not paying more tax than you should. I always like to look at how much tax are we paying. Is it tax that we need to pay? Is there a way that we can prevent ourselves from having to pay this tax if we restructure the business in a more legitimate way? And of course, ensure that what you're doing is legal. I'm not asking you to avoid tax, because that's not my advice. I'm just saying, look at your outgoings, look at the way you structured your investments or your businesses. If there are areas where you can bring experts to educate you a bit more, there are tax advisors who can educate you and say, actually, I think you're paying too much tax in this area. You could restructure this slightly differently and it will save you X amount of tax. So ensure that you're doing that with your revenue, because the more money you keep for yourself than goes out, the more you would have to be able to invest. The next point I want to share with you today that is really affecting you and making you poorer is actually leaving your money in a savings account for too long, because it's unnecessary. Your money is not doing anything. I'm using the words of Grant Cardone. He said that, and it's true. Money is trash if it's not used. It is a tool that needs to be used. This is one other thing I learned when I was reading the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. To be very honest, I don't really like having a lot of money in my savings account. If I have money in my savings account, most times it will be emergency funds, but anything more than 3 months to 6 months worth of emergency fund, I will not be leaving in my savings account, because I need to invest that money for it to grow. And that's the way I think. I don't like waking up in the morning and seeing chunks and chunks of money in my bank account, because they should be doing something for me. And if I'm looking at growing wealth to financial independence, then the money sitting in my savings account is actually losing value. Inflation is eating it up and taking a lot from it. So the quicker I research and find a good investment to put that money in, the better for me, because it will be growing and accumulating wealth for me. Another point I want to share with you today is not caring about finances. Not caring about your finances is one of the worst decisions that you could make, and it is definitely the main reason why you do not have money or why you're poor. The Bible talks about money in so many ways, and what the Bible talks about money is the love of money is the root of all evil. But a lot of people see money in itself as evil. Money in the hand of a good person will do a lot of greatness. Money in the hands of a wrong person will do a lot of evil. It's not money that is the problem, it's the person or is the tool. Money answereth all things, and the Bible says that. So if money can answer all things, then money is essential. So learning how to manage money, learning how to grow your money will be one of the best things you could ever do for yourself, and you will see that you will start to grow financially as you go on this journey. And the very last one, which is the bonus point I want to share with you today, is leaving it too long before you start investing. Once you're able to start investing, do that as soon as you can. Investment is a strategy that is long term, and the longer you wait, the likely that you're missing a lot of opportunities along the way. So on that very good note, I wish you a very fantastic week, and I pray that you will start to think about your finances in a different way and identify those areas that are holding you back and start to do something about it. I wish you all the very best. Look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye now.